Hello and welcome to the Hands-On M365 podcast, a show about Microsoft 365.
Where Microsoft runs in the family. My name is Francisca, and I am a Microsoft 365 and Copilot MVP, and I'm also married to João.
And I'm also Microsoft MVP in the SharePoint and M365 development categories.
Today we're going to be tackling Cowork. So roughly a month ago, Cowork went from being freely available product for Copilot users into being a paid, separately licensed add-on to Copilot. And back in the day, it was a bit chaotic. People were super upset about the change, and both of us wrote pieces on reflecting on the change and what it meant. And today our goal is really to, 1 month past this change, to dive deep into what happened, what we're seeing, and where we're feeling things are heading.
Yeah. But before we jump into the content of our articles, for those of you that don't know what Cowork is, let's first cover that. So Cowork, it's an agentic AI system. It's kind of an agent for Copilot that runs automated tasks inside of Copilot. Basically, you can ask Cowork to do a complex task, shut down your laptop. It will continue to run in the cloud. It will use multiple applications if needed, access to multiple files, and it will produce whatever you ask him to do completely unattended. This is what Copilot Cowork does, and it has access to Work IQ, meaning that all the data that you have in Microsoft 365, it's still available for Cowork to use. So this is what Cowork is. What happened a month ago was that Cowork moved from Frontier to GA, and with that change came a surprise in the licensing for this part of Copilot. While it was in Frontier, it was included in the $30 per user per month. On June 16, it was announced that it would start being paid with Copilot credits, and each credit costs 1 cent. And this was the biggest change in Cowork that was introduced a month ago. So just to give you an idea of the cost, so I said that each credit costs 1 cent, but there's also the possibility to purchase or make annual commitments for credits that will be slightly cheaper. But, well, let's assume that each credit costs 1 cent. So if you ask Cowork to do light tasks like create weekly status updates from my Monday morning emails, this can cost from $1 to $3, meaning that it consumes from 100 credits to 300. If you ask it to do medium tasks like prep for my client meeting, email calendars and files, and put all of that into a deck, this is a task that will consume between 400 and 700 credits in theory, so meaning from $4 to $7. And then heavy complex tasks like analyze the last 6 months of product usage and produce a leadership ready report. This is $7 plus, meaning more than 700 credits. Thankfully, Microsoft made available a simulator so you can check what this might cost. And there's also boundaries that you can put in place on the usage of Cowork, so people don't spend $10,000 doing weird things with Cowork.
Which doesn't really make sense, right?
Yeah, it does not.
Kind of what what my point was in some of my writings, the fact that Cowork was free was opening door to people using it for tasks that are not really Cowork needed, or for which Cowork is not needed. Because when you're going to use Cowork for really high-level, complex, multi-step tasks. In my case, for example, what I find was most valuable was taking a meeting that was a roadmap discussion with broad sets of stakeholders in my organization, taking that recording and transforming that into a strategic roadmap presentation, a detailed Excel file with milestones, and granular backlog items. So those three things, they were done simultaneously by Cowork based on one recording and other signals from the organization using WorkIQ and everything that Cowork has access to. And that was a high value task that Cowork, in my opinion, was worthy. But what was happening was that people were just regularly prompting Cowork as if they did with Copilot chat, and that's like a very expensive tool to use right now for that.
But they were doing that because they could. It was included in the $30, so it was a lot faster. There was no extra cost on doing that, so I get it. So I also get the frustration when the new licensing model became available because, well, people were starting to get used to Cowork. It was free for pretty much 3 months. But the thing is, despite this change, what you can do with Copilot didn't change that much. If you are willing to stay in the loop and control what is being produced with Copilot, you can achieve, I would say, pretty much the same thing. Well, you will lose the automation, but if you have the Anthropic models enabled for your tenant, it's just a matter of being the orchestrator of what Copilot does. Curate your prompts really well, make sure that you pass the right context, and be there. It will slow down things a bit, yes, but as it slows down things, also the output might be a bit better than it was with Cowork because, well, we were throwing things to Cowork just to see the output. Here, we need to intentionally go there, see the result of the first prompt, and then iterate on that. So this is what is still possible to do with Copilot these days. I
love that you're agreeing with me there, and it's actually very much related to what I deeply think about this change, which is I think that the slowdown is very welcome in the sense that we will be, and up until now, we were working at a very fast pace that gave us this sense of accomplishment. We were doing, like, generating a lot of outputs and assets, and that made us feel productive, even though it was questionable if we were, because what were we doing with those outputs? How depth were we going? How in depth were we going with those? And even another topic that really worries me, which is how are we educating new generations to work alongside these tools? And I feel that the pace at which we were and the fully automation, no human in the loop process was kind of impacting how we train young people who join our team, right?
Yeah, totally agree on that. Yes. So I would say that this is a win-win situation. You will not spending a lot of money, but at the same time, you are slowing down things. People still need to look at what AI is producing. Still, we are being a lot more productive, but at the end of the day, we still keep some of the control on the output, and we are able to teach people still on the products that they are trying to build with Copilot.
But we understand the frustration at the same time, right? It's like Microsoft didn't define the rules at the beginning of the process, so an expectation was created. And then, I mean, Microsoft is a business. We know they need to make money. This was consuming a lot of resources, and scaling down was needed. I think it's just like, I mean, either you were slightly aware that, okay, this may change at any point of time. If you weren't, then this comes like as a frustration and as if someone is changing the rules of the game in the middle of the game. So.
But let me tell you that 1 month has passed by, and honestly, the thing that I miss the most is getting the output files organized in OneDrive by conversation. Everything else I was able to achieve with prompts. It took me longer. Yes, that's true. I was not able to send the prompt, go and grab a coffee, and 15 minutes after check for the result. No, I need to be there. I need to iterate multiple times, but that's fine. I'm still being a lot more productive using this process than I was before Copilot. So I don't know what your opinion is on this, but
yeah, well, I think that I agree. I didn't feel the need for it very much. What left me wondering was I don't know how many organizations have actually switched on the credits so that people could still decide on whether they needed Cowork or not. I feel, and well, we have no data about it, maybe Microsoft does, but how many people felt that it was worth setting up the credits and still allow people to make the call, and within guardrails, of course, that Microsoft allows establishing, but whether it would be worth making the call, should I use Cowork, should I use something else, or if they simply just shut down the possibility of doing it by not setting up the credits. And I kind of feel that the majority of organizations at this stage have probably not taken the step to configure it, if they were just experimenting with it freely and not like really structuring the kind of use cases that make sense for Cowork. So.
Yeah. So any other thing that you think it's valuable that came from this licensing change, in your opinion?
Valuable. No, I think there are some other things that we need to pay attention to as we move forward. I think, well, value for me in this thing is like more time and more attention to new hires. There are things that worry me with the change. So the shutting down of the possibility worries me. The gap between people, both within the organization and between like organizations and countries, and even at a more macro level, regions, that really worries me. Inside the organization, I feel that if you're licensing Cowork, then you're probably, or there's a big temptation of licensing or allowing people with more senior roles to use Cowork.
Yeah, those are the most expensive people in the organization. So it makes sense financially, but it might not make sense for the type of task that is produced using AI.
That's the thing. I mean, the most super repetitive work is usually done by more junior people. At the same time, you also want them to learn.
Exactly.
So this is a difficult trade-off, I guess.
There's an important thing that was announced alongside with the Cowork update, that is Microsoft will also release their own models. And those will be cheaper than OpenAI and Anthropic models that are currently the ones that are powering Copilot and Cowork today.
But that I think that shouldn't restrain us from taking the moment or the pause or the breath and the opportunity to reflect on how we're using, how can we use Cowork in a intentional way, taking the time to really make prompts better, train our teams to think strategically and critically, and how are we distributing licensing and putting guardrails in place to make sure that people know when to use which tool when, and when to delegate each task where and how, and so that this is sustainably usable long term, not just financially, but like in a rounded way. I think we would love to hear your comments on this, your experiences, and even how you're taking time to enjoy the pulse and this fresh air opportunity.
Okay. Food for thought for our listeners. So if you have an opinion on this, leave it down below in the comments, and we will be monitoring those. So let's start the discussion on this there. So this was the first episode of our new podcast. Let us know your feedback. If you have questions about this topic, or if you have suggestions for future episodes, let us know. We will be back soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.